of you when I get biblical. But this is such an appropriate use of the Old Testament stories as metaphor, as allegory, as a guide to what might work or a way to think about something, not as a historical fact. I don't even care if it was a historical fact. This is a good story of guidance. So what we're talking about this week, we talked last week about what we believe. We believe in oneness. We believe in love. We believe that we are one and that we come from love, that it is ours to love, that's not only who we are, it's the direction we're heading, it's the path we're on, it's the final truth of us. This week we're going to talk about, so how do you live from that? What is ours to do? That's a little more complicated than just sort of knowing this idea. And that's sort of the deal with Moses. It's like, I know this idea that God's going to be there to help me, but I'm looking at this ocean, and these people are real mad at me, and Pharaoh and his boys are behind me, and don't know what's going to happen here. So the way to do what is ours to do, to know what is ours to do, is first to look at what are our values. What do we value? And not just what are our values, what did we say our values are, but look at your actual life and see what your values really are. Maybe you think your values are one love, but they're really Netflix. Where do you spend your time? I'm not saying it's wrong to spend your time with Netflix. I'm just saying take a look at your life. Where are you spending your time? With whom? Doing what? Because you will be doing what you value. You will be doing what you value. And I'm not saying every minute of every day you have to be a perfect, loving person. You're not going to be. No matter how hard you try, that's not going to happen. But how do we incorporate this love that we believe into our daily lives and what we do? One thing, a very common phrase you hear is garbage in, garbage out, right? If you put garbage in, garbage is going to be what comes out. I also believe this, beauty in, beauty out. If you're exposing yourself to beauty, then beauty is what's going to come out of you. If you're hanging around with people who are speaking words of love, then you are more likely to speak words of love. When you spend your time knowing who you are, praying about who you are, meditating on who you are, reading about who you are, hanging around with other people who reflect back to you the truth of who you are, then that's what's going to come out. That's what's going to come out. So there is I like to talk about the do, have, be. The world will tell you that if you do enough, if you work hard enough, then you will be something, and then you will have all the things you want, right? You work hard enough to be a success, you work hard, and then you become a success, and then you will have all of the trappings of success. Or sometimes the world tells you this, you got to have the stuff, you got to get your equipment. First thing, I don't know if this is all men, but Bob's like, I need to exercise, I want to buy a $1,000 bicycle. Get your stuff. Get your stuff, and then you will do something with your stuff over and over and over and over again. Say you need to get your skis, and you do it over and over and over and over and over again. So then you become a skier. That's the have, do, be. And what we're looking for on the spiritual path is the be, do, have. First, be who you really are. Spend some time there. Spend some time in your own mind, in your own heart, in your own company. And spend your time with other people, reflecting to them what you learn from your own company. If I am love, then you are too, no matter how you're showing up. If I am love, then you are too. First, be who you really are. As my friend Christopher Chenoweth used to say, consent. Consent to that. Accept it. Let God be God in you. It's always there if we're not blocking it. It's always there. So be. And then when you're being that, what you do will follow from who you are. What you do will follow. And then I absolutely believe, and it has borne out in my life, then you will have all you need to live the life that is yours to live. Right? Be, do, have. So the first thing you have to do is know who you are, right? Know who you are. When you have a clear idea of your vision for yourself, then you can weigh everything you do against that idea. That's the idea of us having a vision in this community. When it comes time to make a decision, should the church do this? Should the church do that? One of the things that the board does is say, wait a minute, does it fit in with our vision and our mission? It may be the greatest idea in the world, but if it doesn't fit in with our vision and our mission, then here is maybe not the place to do it. Right? So what is your vision of yourself? What do you believe about yourself? What is your mission in life? Know who you are. And in order to do that, you have to sometimes just get quiet and tune out all the other voices. Because there are plenty of voices in this world trying to tell you who you are. You can do that, you can't do that. You're good at this, you're not good at that. Listen. Get quiet. And then when you're faced with an opportunity or a challenge or an idea that comes up from that listening place, then pause to ask the question, is this mine to do? Should I take an action? Or is this me reacting to something else? Right? Sometimes a lot of what we do is in reaction to the things we've been told. So I'm not saying it's not a good thing to react, but to take that time and say, what is my heart truly telling me? If I wasn't fighting against anything or anyone, if I was just looking at who I am and what my gifts are, this is a big one, what are my gifts? Then I step forward into those and I get an idea of what is mine to do. And gifts are not just talents, y'all. Can say you have gifts. There are people I know I can look at in this room who are amazing encouragers. There are people in this room who are amazing smilers, who just brighten people's day by greeting them always with a smile. There are people here who welcome, who have a heart of hospitality and welcome that draws you in. There are people here who are amazing listeners, who allow someone else to fully express who they are because you're willing to be fully present and listen and allow that to come forth. There's all kinds of, you have a million gifts. You don't just have one gift. You have a million gifts, I promise you. And here's what I know. Sometimes then, when you know what your gifts are, you have to do the work. You have to put your foot in the water. You know, God will go, okay, you say that, but what are you actually showing me anything about that? Do you really want that? Do you really want that? A prayer that is in no way followed up by willingness to take an action is a wish, not a prayer. It's a wish, not a prayer. So a prayer is, I believe in this strongly enough. I know it's mine. I'm willing to take a step. I'm willing to take a step maybe just on faith. And then, if it's yours to do, Spirit will provide the opportunity. This is what I believe. If it's truly yours to do, Spirit will provide the opportunity. And it may not be the one you think it is. And it may not be the one you want, but Spirit's not in the business of answering your wishes and wants. Spirit's in the business of answering the true calling of your soul. We have a tendency to listen to the true calling of our soul and say, how could that possibly play out in this universe? Okay, here's my plan, here's what I want to do. But maybe you feel like you're being blocked from doing something that you really want to do, and maybe it's your soul blocking you. Maybe your soul is saying, no, that's going to be a distraction from you, from what you really want. Ram Dass says, when you ask for God, God will not let you settle for anything less. Your soul will not let you settle for anything else, for anything less. Whew, that's a big one. What does that mean in your life? I don't know. Spend some time with it. Spend some quiet time with it. If it's yours to do, Spirit will provide the opportunity. So a lot of what is ours to do is to pay attention. Pay attention, because people show up in our lives, and sometimes we're not paying attention and we just dismiss them. That might have been an opportunity. Other opportunities show up in our lives. Directions are pointed, gut feelings and intuitions happen, and we always have free will whether to listen to those or not to listen to those, right? So here's what I believe. If it's mine to do, the world will give me clues too. The world will give me clues. If there's something that I've decided, the only way I will be successful is if I do this thing, and I put all my attention and energy on doing this thing, and it just keeps not happening and not happening and not happening and not happening. Possibly it's not actually mine to do. Possibly my prayer that's underneath that prayer, that's underneath this physical thing that I want to happen, is a much deeper prayer. And so spending some time with myself and understanding what the deeper prayer is. But also, the clues sometimes happen in synchronicities. You ask for something or you don't ask for something, and 3 times in the same week, somebody says to you this word that you haven't heard in 5 years, or a suggestion for a book to read, or a place to go, or a song to listen to, or an idea to process. If I hear it 3 times, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. It took me about, 3 years from the time that I decided, I think ministry is what I'm supposed to do. I think it is what I'm supposed to do. And I asked a person who had been on the path of ministry, will you be my mentor while I decide whether to become a minister? And he said, no. I will be your prayer partner while you become a minister. And that person is still my prayer partner today, 10, 12 years later. So, and that's exactly what happened. He heard the desire of my heart before I was ready or willing to commit to it. Now, does that mean other people are always right? No, it doesn't. But when he said it, my heart went, yeah, you've been trying to hedge your bets. You've been thinking about this. You know you want it. You know it's what you're being called to do. But it still took me a while to find the seminary that I wanted to go to. And I kind of had convinced myself, I'm just going to have to pick one and do what I did in high school, which is figure out the answer that they want so I could give it to them so I could get the degree and move on, right? Or in college. How many of you did that in your classes in college? I do not agree with anything I'm writing here in this paper, but I know what you want me to say, so I'm saying it. That's what I thought I was going to have to do. And as I looked at the seminaries that I already knew about, I kept, I know how they teach. I know people who have graduated from there, and I could do it. I could do it if I have to. And then I heard the name of a seminary that I had never heard of before 3 times in a very short period of time. It came out of the mouth of one person, and then I read it somewhere, and then it came out of the mouth of another person, and I went, I don't even know that exists. And besides that, it's in New York City. I can't go to a seminary in New York City. And yet I did. I paid attention. I got online. I went, oh, this looks like a seminary that's going to teach me things I actually want to know. Yay. Yay. And I'm not saying it always turns out that way, but that's the way it turned out for me. I have learned if I hear something 2 or 3 times, if there's a synchronicity that happens, it's mine to pay attention to or to ignore at my peril, to ignore at my soul's peril, to ignore at my life's peril, perhaps. The pathway is not always clear. That's a seminary. It's in New York City. Never mind. Look closer to home is what I could have done. But instead, I went, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go. You have to make a way. I'll put my foot in the water. I will apply. I will apply. And then if I'm meant to be there, I'll be accepted. And if I'm meant to go, then the way will be made for me. And it was. This is just me sharing one little story from my life, but that's the deal. And here's the other thing that I learned. Be authentic. Sometimes we start on a path because we think it's ours, and then we see the other people on that path, and we think, okay, this is the way you're supposed to behave if you're on that path. This is the way you're supposed to behave if you're doing this. And truly, if you want it to be the answer to your soul's question, show up as who you are, even if you think it might not be acceptable. Are you brave enough to do that? That's a foot in the water. That's a foot in the water. Be authentic. And here's what I know. If it's really yours to do, it will not serve just you. There's no private good. If it's good for all. You may not immediately know what that looks like, but if it's good for all. So is it mine to do? That's the question. There's some things that are mine to do. There's some things that are somebody else's to do. Is it somebody else's to do? Is it their job? Does it more closely align with their gifts? And also this question, if I force myself into this situation, might I be depriving someone else of learning their own lessons or toting their own load, taking on what is not mine? I had a story with my family. I'm the only one who ever does anything. I'm the one that goes into the hospital and stays days and days and days when parents are in the hospital. I'm the one that comes and stays when someone has surgery. I'm the only one who does this. And the truth was I was the only one who did that. And then my mom was having a surgery when I had an out-of-town trip scheduled that I did not want to cancel. And I don't know if I called my mom or I called my sister, but I said, there's a possible conflict. Can you change your surgery? And my sister said, I could do that. And I was like, you've never done it before? And then I had to look at, do I have a part in this? Did I, every moment that I saw that there was the tiniest little void, did I jump in such a way that no one else ever felt the void? That no one else ever had to feel the need, because I had already jumped in and filled it. I talk about this to the people who volunteer at this church. We have great volunteerism at this church. And sometimes it's the same people who volunteer over and over again. And sometimes I say, don't put your name on that paper. Because if there's a blank spot there, somebody might go, I thought that was always taken care of, but it's not taken care of yet anyway. Maybe I need to put my name there, right? Don't jump in and do what is someone else's to do. And if you screw up, if you take a leap and it doesn't work, meh, right? I know that God can make a perfect work through imperfect means. And I know that there are some things that I thought were mine to do that I tried, and the world kept telling me, no, it's not quite. You might go and refine that goal a little bit. And I was led in a direction that I was like, oh, maybe this is really mine to do. I thought it had to look like this, but maybe it looks like this. And then try it out and see. And then the last thing that's in the song so beautifully, God's timing. Sometimes you think it's now, and it needs to be now, and it has to happen now, and if it doesn't happen now, it's never going to happen. Our society teaches us that. If it's not going to happen now, it's never going to happen. I've shared with you before, I don't want to get there, I want to be there. So, that's the way I am when I'm driving. That's a spiritual work for me to be present during my drive from one place to another, because my natural tendency is to want to skip all this and already be there. So trying to be present, right? Trying to be present. What is here for me? Maybe I'm late for this thing and I'm making myself crazy because, I didn't know there's going to be this much traffic. And well, I'm going to get there when I'm going to get there. And meanwhile, where am I right now? I will do the best I can with what I have right where I am. I can't do it somewhere else. I can only do it here. And sometimes a no is not a no, it's just a later. or a not quite, but you're getting close, or it's a play with that a little while. You might want to refine that a little bit. Maybe more will be clear. Maybe more will be clear. So there is divine timing about what is mine to do. We are all doing what is ours to do. We all are doing what is ours to do. I believe that. And we can all do more of what is ours to do when we start listening more closely, paying more attention, not jumping in to do someone else's job, and not trying to jump in and do God's job, because I am not good at doing God's job. I am good at doing this individual expression of the one's job, but not the whole thing. And my part is to do my expression of God. Your part is to do your expression of God. My prayer for you is that you pay attention and you find that, and that you are lovingly fulfilled by it. Thank you. So I'm going to take that idea into meditation for a moment. I invite you to just be present right where you are. A good way to do that is to pay attention to the breath. You can't breathe yesterday, you can't breathe tomorrow, you can't even breathe 5 minutes ago, you can only breathe right now. There's the in-breath that is always then followed by the out-breath. There's a prayer I want to share with you. It's a universal prayer. It's a meta prayer. It's expressed in different ways, but the one I'm going to share with you today is, hold this. May I be filled with loving kindness. Say that to yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. Always inherent in kindness is wisdom. What is the truly kind thing? May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be set free from all suffering, all illusion, all fear. May I be set free from all suffering, all illusion, all fear. Here's a hard one. May I accept myself and others completely. May I accept myself and others completely. May I be happy and at peace. May I be happy and at peace, which is the result of being filled with loving kindness, free from suffering and illusion and fear, and accepting who you are and who everybody else is too, happy and at peace. And if when I said I accept myself and others completely, an other came up in your mind that you may be having a little trouble accepting completely, or who might pop up into your mind right now, I invite you to pray this prayer as you hold this person in your thoughts, in your heart. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be set free from all suffering, all illusion, all fear. May you accept yourself and others completely. May you be happy and at peace. This is a good prayer to use when you're tempted to watch the news. You don't know what to do. Here's something you can do. And then in the knowing that we are one, that there is no separate good, that if you are filled with loving kindness, that fills the world with loving kindness. That if I am filled with loving kindness, then I am affecting the world with my kindness. When you or I refuse to give in to fear, the world is less fearful. When you or I accept ourselves and others, the world breathes a sigh of relief. And so we say, may we be filled with loving kindness. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be set free from all suffering, all illusion, all fear. May we be set free from all suffering, illusion, fear. May we accept ourselves and each other completely. May we be that open. May we believe in our oneness that strongly. May we accept ourselves and others completely. May we, all of us, be happy and at peace. May we know that our happiness depends upon each other, as we are one. But it starts with each individuation and our willingness. May we be happy and at peace. May we be happy and at peace. May we be happy and at peace. And so it is. Amen.